to talk about something super top of mind for me and something that may not even be crossing any of your guys' mind, but it is a huge reason why many of you guys are not getting paid. And that is correctly doing the EDI enrollment. Okay. And if you guys have followed me for any period of time, you guys know that recently I had a bunch of insurance claims, thousands of dollars of insurance claims that were not getting paid. And for the life of me, I could not figure it out. I knew we switched EMRs, but I was not thinking in the context that we're going to talk about today. So if you're a dietitian trying to get your practice set up with insurance, and you're not getting paid, there's a good chance you are not alone. So today I'm going to break down the three most common and important mistakes dietitians are making when enrolling in the EDI and how to avoid them so you get paid and you have no headache. So for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Amy Plano. I'm the reimbursement dietitian. I help dietitians and CNSs just like you bill insurance. And even more importantly, that I don't think I talk about a lot is I actually operate a group insurance-based practice. So I'm not just a typical mentor or coach who talks about this shit. I do this shit every day. And if you follow me on Instagram, that I hope you do, reimbursement_dietitian, how to think about that for a hot second. You will also know I run into the same trials and tribulations that you guys do as well. So if you've ever stared at a rejected claim or wonder why your claims are not getting paid, this video is for you. So before we jump into reason number one, let's talk about what the EDI is. So it's the electronic data interchange, and it's basically the handshake between the insurance payers and your clearinghouses. Think about it like if you turned off your water in the winter because you had a cottage. In order to make sure it turns on, you need to make sure that you paid your water bill. Well, that's how the EDI works. The EDI needs to be properly connected and enrolled from the payer to the clearinghouse in order for you to get paid. So let's talk about the three mistakes I see you guys making, including myself, and why you guys are not getting paid. So number one, you're using the wrong taxonomy or NPI. One of the biggest mistakes I see you guys making is enrolling in the insurance companies with the wrong NPI or the wrong taxonomy. For example, it's always going to be based on your contract. So if you have a contract that is an individual contract, let's just say Aetna. Aetna is one where they generally will only enroll you with a type 1. That means you need to use your type 1 on the EDI enrollment. I know it's super confusing, but let me just summarize. Usually Blue Cross Blue Shield is your type 2, Cigna is your type 2, Aetna is your type 1, UHC is usually your type 1. This is if you're a sole practitioner, not a group, okay? And so if you enroll incorrectly and say you use your type 2 and it's Aetna, right? They're not going to have your type 2 on file, so you're not going to get paid. Right? Also, you have to make sure that you select the taxonomy code that matches the payer's requirements. Like if you use the one that's too generic and it's not specific enough, then you also are not going to get paid. So this will lead to rejected claims, delayed payments, and the worst, endless back and forth with the insurance companies. So the pro tip is check the payer's provider enrollment instructions. They're generally clear. A lot of times you guys are just rushing through them in terms of submitting your EDI. And it's also really good to have your contract in front of you so you know who your contract is issued to. If it says, Dear Amy Kristock LLC, sure as shit, I probably should be using my type 2. If it says, Dear Amy Plano, welcome to the network, I'm usually going to enroll in the EDI with my type 1. So that's my pro tip. I know it seems overwhelming and there's enough things to already consider, but that one is one that I see you guys mess up, unfortunately, repeatedly. Mistake number two, not submitting all of the information requested in the EDI or incorrect information. So the payer is going to require very specific information when you are enrolling with, your clearinghouse. So it's going to ask for the type, your NPI, right? The type, your taxonomy code, your W-9 for your business, your banking info for EFTs and ERAs, and then also HIPAA attestation. So if you miss one of these, your EDI enrollment will stall for weeks. Okay. Even worse, some dietitians unfortunately assume that submitting just the paper form or just the online application is enough. Often, you need additional information and you need to make sure that you're following the instructions because certain payers will request certain information while other payers will only request a nominal amount of information. So I would probably say just make sure you're following, the pro tip is make sure you're following the checklist for every payer. Double check each box, the signatures, the attachments before submitting. Because, like I said, this can hold up getting paid for a long period of time. Okay. The third one, and this one is also pretty common, forgetting to test and activate the EDI after you have been approved. So a lot of dietitians think that enrollment equals automatic activation. And as we know in the world of insurance, shit defies gravity. One would assume that if you fill out a form and you do all the things correctly, but once you get your approval via email or via the portal that you're good to submit, dietitians often assume the claims will just start flowing electronically. What we have found is most payers require testing the EDI setup before accepting live claims. So skipping this obviously can cause claims to get bounced, rejected, and all of us super frustrated, want to throw small children across the room and delayed reimbursement. So make sure, if possible, if you have the option, which you don't always have, schedule the EDI test with the payer, confirm everything passes, and then submit your first claim live. Because trust me, taking those extra 30 minutes to test will save you headaches down the road. Okay, so like I said, this has been super top of mind for me because we did not properly set up our EDI when we were changing EMRs. So we switched September 1st from Calyx to Intake Q. And actually the mistake we made was we did not do the EDI enrollment for the switch. So we had all of the claims pushing to Calyx, which meant none of them were pushing to Intake Q, which meant because the shit was so fucked up, we weren't getting paid at all. And I'm not talking just a couple claims, I'm talking thousands of dollars of claims. And so that is why I make these videos, because I try to walk the walk and talk the talk, all of the things, whatever I'm supposed to try to be saying. But I make these mistakes as well, and they are costly. And like I said, they delay payment. I think it took us like 2 or 3 months to finally get paid, but we are. So that is why I'm making this video, because I do not want you to make those mistakes. If you are somebody who is struggling with setting up your insurance-based practice, Amy P reporting for duty, okay? I know how to do all of these things inside and out, not just because I teach them, because I do them. So if you're somebody who needs hand-holding, want somebody to show you how to do these things step by step, my 6-month coaching program is fucking epic. We'll put the link below in case you want to check it out. We have thousands of dietitians who have gone through it already. So I think we get the RD stamp of approval, but we'll put the link below so you can put in an application. If once I get your application, I think we are a good fit, which is not always the case, I will send you a link to my schedule and we will chat. And in the time being, if you loved what you learned today, either share this with a dietitian or CNS who you know is struggling with getting paid, because this one might be a sleeper. And number 2, just subscribe. We release videos like this that are generally on topics that are important, that are related to getting paid, and generally super top of mind for me because I'm working with them at the same pace you guys are. So hit the subscribe button and I'll see you guys next week.